Hey students, so we're going to quickly just solve these two problems that were for homework. We're going to find exponential functions given a table. Now, exponential functions usually come in the form of something times something else that's raised to the power of x. Okay, this is called the parent function of exponential equations. And what we're going to do is for pattern B, investigating patterns, we're going to first, of course, look for the pattern. Then we're going to write some function or general rule. And then we're going to verify or test that general rule. So let's look at number one. So what we're going to do first is you need to have a look at this and notice what's happening with the table. Okay, so notice that this is being multiplied by 7/10, and then again by 7/10, and again by 7/10. So you're looking for what is it being multiplied or divided by. And again, the parent function is y equals a times b to the power of x, where a is the now and b is the change raised to the power of x. Okay, so the now just means, okay, at 0, now, what is this function? And in this case, it's 4. And the change means, how is it changing each time? And in this case, it's changing each time by 7/10. So we've got our function. We've already figured out our general rule, right? It's just y equals 4 times 7/10 raised to the power of x. Now we're going to test our general rule. Okay? And how we do that is we just pick a couple different values from the table. Now on your on your investigation, I would pick several points, like maybe 2 or 3 points to really verify your results. So you could pick that point and you could pick another point. I'm just going to pick this point right here, and I'm going to write that coordinate pair right here, 1, 2.8, and I know that x, that's always my x, and this is always my y. So all I'm going to do is, instead of writing x here, I'm going to write 1. And instead of writing y here, I will write 2.8. So I'm just going to substitute these values in and test to make sure my general rule works. Here's what it looks like. Right, y is just 2.8. And x is just 1. And when I solve that, when I calculate it, I know that 0.7 to the power of 1 is just itself. It's just 0.7 or 7/10. And if I type 4 times 7/10 into my calculator, I'll get 2.8. Thus, 2.8 equals 2.8. We've done it correctly. Let's look at number 2. Now, in this case, what's happening is everything's being multiplied by 3. And that was really easy for me to see because I looked at 6 times 18. So I don't necessarily have to look at this at the beginning, the fraction. You can just focus on the other ones, and you can see that this is working each time. My now is always, my a is always going to be when x equals 0. So if you don't have that in your table, then you have to make sure you figure out when x equals 0, what is y going to be? And in this case, it's 2. And then my b value is just my change. So here's our function. Here's our general rule for this table. And now I'm going to verify the general rule or test it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just take maybe this point from the table, 2, 18, and this is my x and my y. And then I will substitute values in. So y equals, well, y is just 18, 2 times 3 to the power of x, but x is just 2. And by the order of operations, when I solve this, I really need to do the exponents first. So 3 squared is 9, and 18 is 18.